Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways unto that which destroyeth kings. I think some of y'all can relate to the story I'm about to tell. You're at school, and let's say you're talking to someone, a female, and maybe you two are walking or something, or I don't know, whatever, and she touches you in a way that you don't necessarily feel comfortable, being touched, that way. Let me say, and you don't actually address it; you just let it slide. And I later discovered that this is actually a very dangerous thing. As men, we can't afford to let things like this slide because if you don't have boundaries as a man, and I know this is something that's not brushed on, very frequently. I don't understand why, because it's so essential. But if you don't have boundaries as a man, number one, it shows that you don't have respect for yourself, and that's a hard pill to swallow. That's a realization that was hard for me to come to. The fact that, look, if I let things like this slide, it means I don't have respect for myself. If I don't clearly feel comfortable with what's happening, but I just let it happen. And number two thing that happens is that it pushes you further, or it pushes you closer, let me say, my fault, to temptation. It opens gateway to sin. Because essentially, if you're not uncomfortable with what's happening, that means you're too comfortable with what's happening. And that means you're entertaining your flesh. Right? And what I've learned is that sin is like a boulder going down the hill. Once it starts, once you push it down just a bit, and it starts rolling, it can't be stopped, or it's very difficult to stop. And so we need to keep our guard up and set boundaries. And I know this can be kind of a iffy topic, like how do you set boundaries? Obviously, I'm sure ladies have this kind of conversation very often because most of the time it's us guys who are crossing these lines. But ladies also cross them too, and we know that, but we don't do anything about it. How come? Well, I'm gonna give you the rundown on how to set boundaries and why it's so important. When you're setting boundaries, you have to be assertive. Alright, you have to be assertive. Imagine a scenario where there's someone who's like in a group full of people who smoke, and they pass him a cigar, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I know, guys, I don't smoke," or like, "Oh yeah, now I'm trying to quit smoking, guys," and he has a smile on his face, and he's like, "Oh no, no. You think they're gonna take him serious? No, they're gonna keep pressuring him. They're gonna be like, "No, come on, man, come on, come on." And there's the other guy who's like, "I don't smoke." Serious face. He's assertive. Like, "Look, I don't smoke. Please put that away from me." And doesn't mean be aggressive, right? Doesn't mean be aggressive, but be assertive. Be clear. Be intentional. And this can throw some people off. Look, you might be seen in a different light by some people. Like, yo, why are you acting like that? It's not that big of a deal, right? That's what most people like to say nowadays. We've just devalued a lot of things in this modern day. But the problem with these little things, like let's say a girl, stroking your neck, or I don't know, something like touching your leg, the whole like stroking your leg thing. That is a little thing, and it can be devalued. It's easy to devalue it, but it's little things that have the greatest effects. And next thing you know, you fall into sin. Maybe not with that person, but maybe with another person, or maybe, you went back to a dark place that as a man you don't want to go back to, you know, tushes and all. Like you don't really want to be there, right? Especially as a God-fearing man, you want to remain sexually pure, right? We all know what it's like to have that guilt, to have the devil spitting lies in our ears, telling us, "Oh, you're a failure. Oh, you messed up. Oh, you relapsed." Right? Obviously, by the grace of God, we are forgiven. Hallelujah. But you had to take the initiative to own up, to say, "Look, I have my personal space. I don't like you doing that." And they may not understand, but you know, right? It's because you know that girl doing that thing could be the reason why you fall into temptation. That girl, you know, holding hands with you could be the reason. And it's these small things. I know that some of y'all it might be like, what? But I know some of you understand what I'm saying here. I know you understand what I'm saying here. That these small things are the ones that get you, that catch you off guard. That's why I don't even hug girls. To be honest, I don't even hug girls because I know most of the time, as guys, we don't really be hugging girls out of innocence. Right? It's mostly just, you know, just a way of vicariously, you know, having that intimacy. Like you're simulating romantic intimacy with somebody who you have a platonic relationship with in a way. And that's what hugging is essentially. It's a act of intimacy. It's a love language. Right? Especially if you're someone whose love language is physical touch. And that's why it's also so important to have boundaries because people can have mixed emotions when you allow them to do things to you, especially like women. You allow them to do something to you, and you let it slide, and you're not comfortable with it, but you let it slide. You make it seem as if, oh yeah, I'm entertaining this. Like I actually like what you're doing to me as much as you like it. And they think, oh, if they like that, then they must like me. Maybe I should do more of that. And you see, now it becomes an issue. Now you're sending mixed signals. And again, could lead you into temptation, and it just causes a whole lot of problems that you don't need in your life. Right? You don't need to have that situation where you know this girl, you know, every day when you're walking together, you know, you're just talking like just as acquaintances, and then all of a sudden she, you know, she like rests her head on your shoulder, and like you just let it slide. Obviously, you're not comfortable with that as a God fearing man. You're like, no, I'm not supposed to be. You know, this is not something that you should be doing as an acquaintance, but she's doing it and you're letting it slide. And she does more and more of it. And that just shows like self respect, but it also shows that you're entertaining it in some way, to some extent. Right? Your spirit is willing to say, look, I'm not okay with this, but the flesh is weak. And it's someone saying, yeah, no, you know, let her do it. I mean, it's not like it's gonna happen. It's not like she's like, you know, doing anything crazy. And these are the lies we tell ourselves. But I hope you found value from this video. I know it was a dense one, but I just wanted to lay it out on the table. It's been something I've been trying to implement in my life. And this video is sort of more for me. And if you can relate to it, that's amazing. I hope that, you know, the Lord's been working through this video, and hope you all have a blessed day. If you enjoy this content, subscribe and join the Jesus Gang. Okay, because we're gonna be posting. I know I haven't posted in a minute. It's been like what, 3 days? But just had a lot going on. But I wanna get back on the streak. But yeah, God bless. I'll see you on the next one.